So, hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Alison. I write as Alison May, 50% of Juliet Bell, and most recently as Sinclair. And here on YouTube I talk about writing, publishing and all things related. If that sounds up your street, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you find out when there are new videos, and please do like and comment, tell me what you would like to see videos about. 2 weeks ago I was talking about trends and bubbles in the publishing market, and we talked about romantasy, which is the hot thing of the moment, and I asked that by saying, should you be writing romantasy? It's the big trend. If you want to be a working author, you want to be a published author, should you be writing something that fits in to that trend? And in this video, I'm going to attempt to answer that question. So, my short answer to that question is, maybe. And my long answer to that question is, maybe. It sort of depends what kind of writer you are. So let's go through the yes and the no versions of that answer. If we were going to say, yes, you absolutely should be writing romantasy, what would my reasoning for that be? I would say, yes, you absolutely should be writing romantasy. If you love romantasy, if that is something you feel led to write, if that is something you feel excited about writing, if that is where the books of your heart, the books your soul wants to write are, then yes, you should absolutely be writing romantasy. My question then is, why do you need me to give you permission to, and why did you wait until there was a romantasy bubble in the market? If that's what you want to write, if that's what you love to write, write it. That's one version of the yes answer. What if it isn't necessarily the kind of genre of your heart, but you have some ideas and you kind of think you could make them work? Well, this would be the time to have a go at those ideas. There is nothing wrong with being a jobbing author. There is nothing wrong with being an author who writes to the market, who writes to what they think they can sell, who writes to what they think readers and publishers are looking for in a given moment. If you are going to do that, and if you are going to make that work, then what you need to find ways of doing is finding the little bit of you in that genre that might not be your natural home. So what I would really strongly suggest is that if you are going to have a go at writing a romantasy book at the moment because you feel like that is something you could sell, and that is a perfectly legitimate reason for writing something, and if that's going to be your approach, then look at your specific idea and think, what is it here that I'm kind of in love with? What is in here that I am going to enjoy spending the next X months of my life with? Because if you're going to write 80, 90, 100, 110,000 words, some romantasy is longer than that. If you're a debut to the genre, you're probably more in the 90,000-ish category, but it could be longer. But if you're going to write that number of words, it's going to be over several months, realistically. So you're going to be spending a lot of time in this world. And if it just feels like pure grind because you have no passion for it at all, that's going to be really, really hard work. Not impossible, but really hard work. And if it's that much hard work, there are plenty of other things you could do which would give you a more reliable source of income. So look at the genre, look at the idea you have that you think sits within that genre, and think, where is the love here? What is the thing that is going to keep me engaged for the next 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, year, however long you think it's going to be? The other thing, if you are going to take the jobbing author approach and you are going to say, I'm doing this as a job, I'm doing this as a career, I need to write things that will sell, I need to write things that I can sell to a publisher, read some stuff in that market. If it's not a genre you know at all, if it's not a genre you've written in before and it's not a genre you would normally write in, go out and read certainly some of the big hitters. Look at books like The Fourth Wing, but also some of the other stuff that's being newly published. Look at what's getting published by debut authors right now in that genre, because that's going to give you more of a sense of what publishers are sort of actively looking for and what they're prepared to take a punt on, what they're prepared to take a risk on. So take a look and do some reading, because it's perfectly possible if you're writing something outside of your kind of natural genre where you feel most comfortable, that what you end up writing is to your idea of what a genre is, rather than to what is actually out there, what is actually engaging readers, what is actually engaging publishers. So if you're going to take that approach, definitely do some writing. Obviously do some writing, but also definitely do some reading, which is what I was trying to say. So those are my two versions of the yes, you should be writing romantasy answer. Yes, you should if these are the books you love and the books you want to write and the stories your heart is led to tell. But also potentially, yes, you should if you think that you can sell it, if you think you have an idea that's strong enough to sell, you think you understand the market well enough to create something that sits in that market and is going to appeal to publishers and readers, and you think you can spend 6 months or a year with that idea without it just turning into an utter grind that sends you into a spiral of despair, then yeah, absolutely, now would be the moment to flex your romantasy muscles. Let's flip that round. What's the no version of this answer? When would I say, no, you absolutely shouldn't be writing romantasy? Well, I wouldn't say you absolutely shouldn't or you absolutely should to anybody. It's obviously totally your choice. But if you aren't someone who reads fantasy, you aren't someone who reads romance, you definitely aren't someone who reads romantic fantasy, and the idea of doing so really turns you off, might be a sign that this is not your genre. If you are really struggling to even come up with an idea that would sit in that genre, again, probably a sign that this ain't your genre. If you are writing this only because you have read or heard or seen on social media that romantasy is hot, and that is the full extent of your engagement with romantasy, then no, you probably shouldn't be writing this because it probably ain't going to turn out good and you're probably going to hate doing it. There is a real risk that we can be too pushed and prodded and pressured by the market. And I always encourage new authors to understand the market, to understand the publishing industry, to think about kind of what's selling, what's engaging readers. But having said that, there is also another strand to the publishing industry, which is that we don't necessarily know what's going to sell and what's going to engage readers until it hits. So before romantasy became a really big, massive bubble, editors weren't really out there actively looking for those sorts of books. Now they really, really are. 10 years ago, nobody was sitting in their big London publishing office saying, what I'd really like is a crime novel set in an old people's home written by a TV quiz show host. This is astonishingly niche, and nobody was actively seeking that. Once it appears on their desk, you go, Richard Osman, pointless, already has a fan base, decent book, lots of heart, whodunit, which is eternally popular, tick, 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 tick. Obviously, that is a book that is going to be hugely saleable, but it isn't a book anyone had thought of before it existed. So sometimes it's okay to be a bit bold and go, okay, I'm kind of writing against the trend at the moment. Maybe this book won't find a home this year. Maybe it won't find a home next year, but it might find a home in 3 or 4 years' time, and it might be the breakout book. It's also worth remembering that the fact that one genre or subgenre is massive at the moment doesn't mean that nobody is reading other genres. Rom-com, people are obviously still reading. Hard sci-fi, whodunits, cozy crime, psychological thrillers. All of those books are still out there, still being published in big numbers, still finding readers in big numbers. So if your heart simply lies elsewhere, and you know that trying to bend it into what you're hearing is hot at the moment is going to break your little creative heart, then don't write the book you want to write. There's a balance between being market aware and being cowed by the market into being a writer that isn't the writer you want to be. So, should you be writing romantasy? Maybe. So long.